Good evening, everyone. I'd like to open up the Board of Water Sewer Commissioners meeting for September 6th at 6:30 p.m. We're all here in attendance. I guess the first order will be acceptance of August the 2nd, 2017 meeting, which we have in our packet.
I make a motion we accept the minutes from the August 2nd meeting that we have in our packet.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Seconded?
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. August 2nd minutes accepted as read. Coming up, item number 3, something we haven't seen in a while. Dance's Soul, to whom it may concern. Our dance studio is requesting use of the Dudley Fire Station on Saturday, September 15th, from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. for a car wash fundraiser with a rain date. The fundraiser will aid our dance competition teams in their regional/national events in this upcoming spring 2018. Thank you for your consideration. I look forward to hearing back from you. Kind regards, Kristen L. St. Laurent, Owner Director. Typically in the past, we've always helped out with folks for car washes at the fire station. They're advised of biodegradable soap or whatever that John handles, and everything goes off smooth.
Do they have to ask permission from the town too?
I have no idea.
No, the fire department typically just allows it, but they have to get permission from here because they're using water.
The selectmen run the fire department, so it's...
The fire department usually never has a problem with it.
I first want to say I'm all in favor of the kids, so. But I do have a question concerning this though and the implications of it. And I know you do stuff like this all over the years for the kids. Is Dance's Soul profit or non-profit? And then do we open ourselves up into doing it every weekend? Should we say, hey, we'll do 5 of these a year, first come, first serve, or, you know what I mean? Because the Little League comes out, the basketball team, the band, all of a sudden you hit
Soccer.
yeah, exactly. But or what's the other sport they play? The lacrosse or whatever it might be. The Boy Scouts, the girls, all these organizations. So, I guess my first question is Dance's Soul a nonprofit?
I would say by reading it, Owner Director, 6
No,
Main Street,
They're
Webster.
not. I know the.
Yeah.
I know
I would say it's a business.
So should we have a way to distinguish the rules between profit and nonprofit? And then how many of these can you do a year? How do you choose who gets to do it and not? I know it's not an issue right now, right? Because there's not 6 people lined up. My point is, I think we need to consider, you know what I mean? Some rules of the game of how we do it. I'm all in favor of helping the kids, and even if it's nonprofit, they say, hey, it helps mitigate the cost of the families and going, that's awesome. But I think we need to understand what it is and how, if it ever comes to where there's more demand than there is supply, how do we handle that? Because there has to be some cost to the water users too, right? Water's flowing down.
Well, is that needed? That's needed through the fire departments.
Yes, it is.
In other words, the fire department's budget is what's picking up the sewer.
Yeah.
Sewer.
Pick up the water.
Water.
It's a separate meter.
You have a separate meter down there?
I believe
So
so.
the fire department's budget absorbs that water use.
So they should really ask them.
And are these kids
All
Dudley
Dudley?
residents? Yeah. I mean,
Boy Scouts doesn't have all Dudley residents.
That's a good point.
Girl Scouts doesn't have all.
It's
Dudley
helping
residents.
kids, so that's
It's helping kids.
Local, so.
These
that's
things,
important.
when they go for these competitions, they go, and they have to pay for it.
Right.
To go wherever they may go, wherever it is, and it can get very expensive. So,
Has anyone ever had a vehicle count? Have an idea how many cars get washed?
that changes drastically. It depends on the weather of the weekend.
I don't think it would be any worse than watering your lawn for an afternoon.
I know in all these years, we've never
They always
refused
use a
anyone.
spigot up. They always have.
Yeah,
So there's
they got
no
a
straight running
nozzle on
water.
it. It's not like it's running out the street.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, it's not in the middle of summer when we need the water. That's when you were talking about when we
Yeah.
can stop people. We can stop at any time we want, because
Yeah.
we need the water.
Yeah, if
Right.
you have to stop.
Right now,
stop it.
the water's being paid for, It's helping the kids.
I think the fire department has to agree to it if it's coming out of their budget though.
They-
Unless we forgive that portion of the budget. I
No,
don't know.
we won't, no, we won't forgive
Well, that's
them.
why I said, does it need the selectmen?
It goes through the fire department. The fire department is all, the fire department is the one that sends them down here to ask for permission here.
So I-
You're talking maybe, what, 10, 15 cars
Yeah,
to
I-
There's not that many.
Yeah,
you know,
and
it's
and
not-
I agree, and I want to help the kids. My biggest thing is that, oh, look at what they did, they raised $1,000, now we get 15 or 20 events, you know,
It's
and it's
been
like,
going on forever.
yeah.
But, you know, the other thing is, you're looking at $3 for 750 gallons of water, you don't even,
Yeah, all right. So as long as it's okay with the fire department.
Yeah,
that's no
3
problem.
gallons for 7.
Yeah.
Now, you said in this time of year, do we not do them during?
I know we never had it during the summer, usually it's this time of year, but in the
Usually school
summertime,
season.
if we're hurting for one of our stations to go down or something like that, yes, we can stop it right off.
All right, all right.
I'll make a motion, we approve the request for a car wash by the Dancer's Soul for September 15th, with a rain date of September 23rd.
As long as it's okay by the fire department.
Yeah, as long as it's okay by the fire department.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous for the car wash. You'll contact those folks, Larry?
Yes, I will.
Just to let them know that, you know, we spoke?
Yep.
I didn't right place.
Oh.
Just in time.
Oh, okay, item 4, Diane Anderson, 14 Raymond Street. Just
Yeah.
just pulled in, oh, perfect.
I have to sign in now.
Yes, please.
The only one here. That's weird.
You're special.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Speaking
special.
of. What?
He said he thought he was special.
It was once.
Different kind.
Yeah. That's it.
Thanks. I wasn't, I moved out of my parents' house. So instead I'm not so special.
All set.
Oh, is that, okay, Diane, could you tell us
Why I'm
the
here?
problem?
Sure. Hey, Jane. So the reason I'm here is because we have had water pressure issue. We live up on Raymond Street, pretty much level with the tank up on the hill. So this coming April, it'll be 20 years we've lived there. We've always had water pressure issue. And every time we've called, I get the same answer. It's kind of the same song and dance. We're only required to give you 20 PSI. We're right at 20 to 22. 22 has been the highest it's ever been recorded. And, you know, I get asked, well, have you cleaned your strainers and everything? And obviously there was an issue, I believe it was last week. We had a really bad issue up there to the point that we weren't even able to make our showers run for 2 days. So I finally called, and ultimately I was told there was a gauge issue that they discovered through investigating that day at the tank, and that they needed to do some bypass or something like that, and that the big tank only had, on the hill, only ended up with 10 feet of water, and that's why we were all struggling with water pressure, which had been really ongoing for, slowly deteriorating for about a month or more. And I kind of, after all the issue, we backtracked, and I had been thinking about the issues we had had at the house. I'd had an issue with my pool. I lost 5,000 gallons in my in-ground pool, and so I throw the hose in after I fixed the issue. And it took me 2 days to put 5,000 gallons in. And I have a little kiddie pool that I run for my daycare, and that took me 2 hours, which typically takes me 45 minutes. Shouldn't take me 2 days running solid of a hose. We don't have a well, obviously, it's on water. So that was an issue. So anyway, fast forward to I called about the issue. They said there was an issue with a gauge. They said there was a bypass, an alarm system that was going off, and they said they fixed it. And that by the end of the day or the next day, I should have better pressure. So I guess I'm here because it's been ongoing, the issue, the water issue. And I keep getting told, you know, if you live down at the end of the road where it starts to go down, you'd have 80 PSI, and we have to put a reducer so they don't blow out their pipes. And I started to think about it, and I said, I think I'm gonna try to go, because if you're giving a reducer to these people at the end so it doesn't blow out their pipes, then why do I have to be the one to pay for a water booster? They're not paying for a reducer, And all I'm looking for is to be able to take a normal shower, and not stand under a trickle. So that's kind of my spiel. I know that's all you're legally required to provide, but everybody up on our street is struggling. Our whole town, our whole street, up in Dudley. And I'm just the one that no one had any clue. I call because I'm home every day. I have a daycare in my home, so it was very obvious. A lot of the people didn't even realize there was an issue, because when the issue happened during the day when we turned the faucet on, they're all at work. I generate the most traffic on my street. They're all gone to work, so I turn on the faucet and there's barely nothing coming out. By the time they got home at 5 o'clock, it had gotten somewhat better, Not enough we could take a shower with that night still, though.
Is that tank filled now, John?
Yes, it
Everything's
is.
up to speed? Everything you said is correct.
I know.
It's a matter of math. The water is pumped from Tanyard Road
Yeah.
up to the tank, the new tank up on Route 31, then it's gravity feed out.
Right.
And yes, you're correct, by the time you get down into the lower part of Stevens Park,
Sure.
Route 131, we have 2 pressure reducing pits along the way
Right,
to kick the pressure back.
right, or they blow their pipes out.
But we don't produce, we do not provide
Sure.
pressure reducing valves for people.
Okay.
That's in the plumbing code. The plumbing code says no more than 80 pounds of pressure in a building.
I'd like 5 more, please. That's all I'm asking.
So we have nothing that reduces the water pressure to those homes?
It's gravity feed coming, you gain approximately a half
Oh.
pound of pressure per foot in
Yeah,
elevation
but you
change.
don't have a,
But I'm saying on the other homes, it's a plumbing issue, and I know that you can have those in your home.
Mhm.
But did the town provide reducers in any way on the town's lines?
We have to have reducers on our lines because we're blowing our mains. We have
Okay.
one at the corner of Peary Road and 31.
Is there a way
That's
to do
downhill
the...
from her.
That is downhill for
Is
me.
there a way to do the opposite for those folks? As long as you can reduce it, can you increase it?
Yes,
And
with a
increase it
booster
versus
pump.
reduce?
Many homes in Dudley up on the, by the courthouse, what's that road?
Lions
Lions.
Road.
Lions
Ash-
Road.
Matter of fact, Ash Lane, when they did,
Ash Lane,
Yeah.
Lions Road, the upper part of Airport Road. Many homes have booster pumps in their basements to increase the pressure.
I've been told that.
I mean, what we're talking is basic science, it's
Yeah.
mathematical. If you're living up on a hill next to the storage tank, you have low
I
pressure.
promise you, Mr. Swell, nobody told us that when we bought our house.
Huh.
And that's okay, I'm not saying that's your fault, but nobody told that. And so to say it's common sense, common science, yeah, that may be true, but that's not one of the questions that came to our mind when we bought the house. How's the water pressure? Oh, it sucks here? No, I don't want to live here. That never.
How
Yeah,
much
that's
of the-
true though. You're looking for
I
a good
understand.
neighborhood, you're looking for somewhere to raise your family and, and
How much are the increases, not the reducers, but the increases, water increase, the pressure increases?
anywhere from 400 up
To
to.
$1,000,
Yeah.
I'm talking about if in these areas,
Booster pump.
in these areas in town where the water pressure, and I know it says 20, but in reality, if we were living, what would we expect if we were living in that house, to have a decent shower? Was it take 25, 30 pounds of pressure? I don't know, not clueless. But if there is something that we can provide to those areas in town, and it's not overly expensive, it could be a capital investment for us. Just like we put the reducers in, somewhere in town, we paid for them. And because there's still a fixed fee in water, am I wrong? Is there a fixed fee that we charge everyone?
yes.
So that's for the capital expenses of the line, right? That's what it's there for. It's saying, hey, regardless
Well,
of whether
it's
we
the
pump,
overhead also,
we
payroll.
pump- Yeah,
Right.
all your fixed costs, regardless of what we pump out of the ground, everybody pays a set fee. So within that is your infrastructure, and in that infrastructure, if we're reducing things so we don't wreck a person's life, right, we should also be able to spend some capital money to improve people's quality of life. In other words, if I have town water, and I don't have town water or sewer, but if I had it, I would expect that in my home, I have the same service as anyone else in town who has town water or sewer, right? Isn't that the expectation? So I think we should probably,
Well, the whole thing is like when a contractor comes in and says to us, okay, I want to build a development over on Ash Lane. First of all, I'm telling you right now, you have 20 pounds of water pressure. You're gonna have to put pumps in, okay?
in the homes or in the?
In the homes.
Each
In the
home
home,
has
each
their own.
individual home. Because up on Ash Lane, you got 3 decades that are as high as my tank, high as the tank with a bathroom up there. There's no way the water's gonna get up there. So when the developer came in, we told him point blank, you got the minimum amount of pressure. You're gonna have to put pumps in there. It's not the water department's job to do that.
Huh?
Okay, so when you're gonna build in that area, this is some of the fixes you're gonna have to do.
Yep,
So that's what we did, but I guess on Ash, back when they did Raymond Street, they never told the people that.
yeah,
So the water department didn't tell the people that.
Or the call told the
Well, Raymond
contractor.
Told the
Street-
contractor.
Raymond Street was built 30, 40 years
I
ago.
was gonna say that's
Yeah, it was
34.
long
Well,
before.
Yeah.
well,
We
before
had a
that.
different water tank then too.
Yeah, you
That
had the
was
old steel
before
water
I was
tank.
born. That was
No.
before. I was
And on the flip side, when we say we have pressure reducing valves, let me tell you that pressure reducing valve is a vault half the size of this room underground.
okay.
You don't see
So
it.
it's even more expensive that we spent a lot of money, so we didn't wreck people's.
But, no,
Well, that's
so
so we don't wreck our own pipes.
that was so we don't wreck our own water, large diameter water mains.
Do those reducers impact that area?
No,
Not
no,
up there, no.
the pressure reduce we have one on corner of Erie Road and Route 31. We knock it down to 40 pounds. We have another one at the corner of Mill Street and 31, and we knock it down to 50 pounds down there, all right?
We do it for our lines?
If we have to do it for our lines or blow our mains.
Have we ever had a situation where we spent capital money to reduce in an area of someone's home? Not just for our lines, but because, hey, I can't turn on the water and the plumbing went,
In a house, no,
no?
no, never.
And don't you have a third reducing station at Sawmill Road?
Yeah, the corner saw road, that's a different kind of setup. That's between the high zone and low zone. If the low zone
To
drops
feed.
too much, the high zone opens up and feeds into the low zone.
I guess my thought is that, I know the homeowners can spend money, but my thought again is that theoretically, we're all paying a fixed fee, the users are paying a fixed fee for the service, and then you're charged a variable fee for the amount of gallons or units or cubic feet or whatever of water that you consume, or if it's sewer, what you flush.
Well, the
So,
fixed
let
fee
me-
is...
let me just finish. I'm the one who can't, I know what the fixed fee is, I came up with it. So basically, you take your fixed cost, divided by the number of users, and everyone pays that fixed fee. And in that, inherently in that, is the fact that every user gets the exact same service of that line going across the front of their home, right? Everybody gets the same. So they used to base it on linear feet in front of your home, betterments and stuff. And I said, no, it should be buildable lots, okay? Because if I have a lot that goes like this, and I have 25 feet out front, and your next lot goes like this, and it happens in Dudley, my lot's kind of like that, that the person who has the same amount of land, same home, each one has 3 kids, let's say, but he's gonna pay more money because he has more linear feet in front? No, it should be on buildable lot. My point is that it's a fixed fee for a basic service that everybody gets the same. And apparently there may be places in town where everyone's not getting the same. So my thought is that we should look into what the cost would be, a capital expenditure would be. Maybe it's $5,000 or $10,000 to solve these problems in town. I don't know, maybe it's 150, maybe it's 300 million, I don't know. But if we can solve some of these issues and make it so that everybody in town gets the same service, I think that would be a
There are a lot
wonderful
of
thing.
areas in town where the
Well,
pressure is
there
low.
might be, I don't know.
Up around
But
Shepherd
I
Hill,
understand that
Ash Lane.
they're not getting the same service as everybody else.
But they're paying the same
Right,
money.
that's what you get.
So if the fixed fee is $800 or $500, everyone's paying $500, but you're not getting the same service. And then,
Well, I'm not trying to, screw this up here, but the service is to provide the water. And that's it, not the pressure.
no,
It's supposed to be 20 pounds, which is what he's given the area. And they're getting the water and paying for what they use.
it's supposed to be a minimum of 20 pounds, but I bet if you took the average pressure around town,
Well, yeah.
it's greater than 20.
No, I'm not arguing that, but I mean the service that the water department provides is giving you the water.
Mhm.
If the pressure is bad there, maybe that's something that needs to be worked on, but,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
I know
saying?
what you're saying.
Can we, John, is there a way to, you said it's 20 pounds, can we like, for her, like,
Measure it?
measure, put a meter on it to see exactly what's coming out day to day?
We did.
Yeah, but,
Okay, so-
I mean, for
Oh,
like,
it's
So
Okay, so
in 20 years, next April, in 20 years, they have tested me twice in the last 2 years, and once was just last week.
And what's the pressure been?
They said when George and Brian came to the house, he had attached his gauge, and he said it says 20. And Brian measured it with his gauge, and he says, I can tell you right now, George, that that is not right. And George says, do we have another gauge in the truck? And he says, I don't know. And then they said, no, I think we left that somewhere, and they rattled off somewhere. So they did not come back and test it, but they did come back to tell me that they discovered that it was only 10 feet at the big tank, and they discovered that there was an issue, and that they were in the process of handling that issue. And I should see by the next day an increase in my pressure.
When the tank is full, like are there times during the year when you don't have a pressure issue? Or is it all year long? Every 12 months out of the year, there's a pressure issue?
All the time there's a pressure issue. It's never been that bad that it was below 20 where we weren't even able to make our shower work. Never. In the entire time.
That was that freak incident when you
Yeah.
had a breakdown on it.
Yeah, only had 10 feet,
Component
only had
part.
10 feet of tank water.
Yeah.
You know, usually I have 46 to 50 feet of water in there.
Is there a way, is that tank full 100% capacity all the
We
time?
go 8 feet, when it drops 8 feet, it kicks back on and fills it back up. Just to
What
so
is
water-
the height at its highest capacity, what is the height of the water?
52 feet before it
And
goes over
what's-
the overflow.
Oh, 52 feet is the over, so it's at capacity?
Yes, yes. And
So-
then the reason we gotta drop it so the water's moving.
Right, right.
So it
right.
doesn't get stagnant.
So when that tank is filled at, let's say, 52 feet, at the bottom of that tank, you should have approximately 26 pounds.
Yeah,
Had pressure there, yeah.
Right there,
At the-
half a pound per foot.
Yep.
Yep.
And if your house is even lower than the grade
Right.
of that tank, then you'll pick up even more
Raymond
pressure.
Street, most of
It
Raymond
doesn't
Street.
more
make
like-
any
It's
sense,
above-
your house
It's
is
more
It's
low.
above the
like-
grade at the bottom of the
You think
tank.
it's above the grade, Raymond Street? Yeah.
at least that end.
Because I remember standing back there where the fire department radios are, and you look through the woods, and the houses are up. Not
Yeah,
much,
yeah,
but they're
yeah,
up.
they're up.
So they're above the,
It's-
they're above the
It only
ground.
takes-
They
2 inches.
described it as like somewhat we're like at sea level, for lack of
Yeah.
a better term.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
close, it's close.
It's pretty close.
Is there, and just a thought, is there a way to put underground or above ground, or like a mini tank down there that always stays at something that feeds that area that, you know what I mean? Comes down from there, like in my house.
Yeah, booster tank.
Yeah, I get the thing in my house to make sure there's always hot water, but I have,
Yeah, like,
You know what I mean?
you could engineer, I'm quite sure you could engineer a system, but then that would be land taking
yeah,
to put it underground, electrical service, and $500,000. You
yeah,
know
no, I
what I'm saying?
know.
It's large diameter pipe,
Yeah,
it's large, three-phase electricity, et cetera, to run these things.
Then
Then if they go amok,
if they put a ball in the pipe, what does that do, increase pressure or decrease? I remember something years ago, somebody told me they put something in the pipe to either increase or decrease pressure, I don't remember what it was, but
Well, if you put something in the pipe, it would decrease the
decrease and
pressure.
restrict it.
well, the pressure's pressure, it would decrease the volume.
Well, yeah, but I
Pressure's
mean,
still
it
gonna
would,
be-
Yeah.
it would get somewhere and it would build up in
A
you know.
quarter-inch pipe or a 10-foot diameter pipe, pressure is pressure, it's the
Right.
same pressure.
It's just the volume.
Right, but the stuff that's floating in the water would build up around it,
You know,
and it would slow down.
my honest opinion is, Diane, we could beat this to death.
Sure.
You're living on a hill next to a storage tank that fluctuates, like John says, 8 feet.
Yeah.
8 feet is approximately 4 pounds of pressure. There are probably 100 homes in town that have booster pumps. And I firmly believe the water department's liability is to the discharge side of the water meter. That's where we stop.
That's fine. I had to come and say, come and
You-
and
you're
say
not-
my piece.
I have a booster pump, okay? Because I'm on a hill.
He lives right below the Airport Road tank.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you have that whole
Yeah,
neighborhood,
you're right
like
at the
John
foot of it,
says.
you would think you
you know,
wouldn't need one right
Yeah,
there.
well, because like I say,
Yeah.
there must be
So how
100 of
much-
them around
How
town.
much does that you know, I wouldn't know what I'm looking for. And I adamantly disagree that I have to buy that, but that's neither here nor there. That's just for the record. But besides that, I don't know what I'm looking for. You know, from the average homeowner, what am I supposed to be looking for? How much am I supposed to be willing to spend?
Yeah.
You know, can I put it in? Do I have to have a plumber put it in? I'm assuming I was told I have to have a plumber put it in, and yet that's another thing. You know, and then it goes back to, well, I shouldn't have to pay for that, just to have a decent shower. And it's, yeah, I know, that's
I
just,
can't think off the top of my head. Some of them have a storage tank with a
Right.
pump next to it. Others have on-demand
right.
that they sense flow in the house, and the minute it senses water flow, it runs. And when you shut the faucet off, it shuts off. Because you've purchased them in the past,
I didn't purchase them.
the homeowner purchased them from High Sales.
Right, high sales, but like I said, the only thing is that if you get the pump in line, you turn the water on, the pump kicks on. Shut it off,
Yeah,
it shuts off.
yeah.
That means the pump.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, the best thing is like if you're putting a well and you have a holding tank,
Yeah.
so, you know,
With the pump behind
Then
it.
the
right.
pump
so-
Yeah.
builds it up into the storage.
It builds the pressure in the tank.
Right.
Can,
With today's internet, all you have to do, Google water booster pumps.
I did.
Yeah?
I did. And again,
She did.
when you asked how much, you know, you're looking, I could get one for around 400, or it's well over 2 grand. You know, and that's not
Then
including
it has to be
installation.
installed and wired. It requires electricity too.
Well, the great news is it's right next to the panel. So, but again, it's just, you know, what do you buy? What is it that we need? Who do I consult?
I'll tell you what, they're all mechanical and they all fail.
Fabulous.
No,
Just like
really,
everything.
seriously, it's an
Yeah.
electric motor.
Right.
It's an
It
electric
looks
motor
like
or
the
it's a
motor for my
storage
pool
tank.
pump. Yeah,
You know, they're
Yeah.
all mechanical.
yeah. The neighbor down the street, the Moores, I
Can
guess
we-
they have one and they were complaining that theirs was failing. But I don't know what the average life is of one, you know, and what fails on it. The motor on the pump, you know, the tank, you know, it's like everything in your home. It's home ownership. I get it. I get it.
can we monitor pressure?
Yeah, we could, well, it's as simple as, they make these little gauges that'll go on the end of your outside faucet. You screw it on to the end of your outside faucet and leave
It's
the
just-
faucet on.
It's just like a pool gauge.
Yeah, and it's, but they make a little, you know how you make a hose connection, you turn your
Yeah.
hose on?
Yep.
They make some little tiny ones where you can just, with a hose washer,
Put it right on.
tie it right onto the outside faucet and watch it. You know?
And I could do that, and no disrespect intended, none whatsoever. Please don't take it as disrespect. But now I'm supposed to go out and buy a pressure gauge, and then I'm gonna go out and record it every day, so
No,
I
I
can
was
bring it back
suggesting
in.
we do that.
I understand, but that's not what I'm hearing. So what I'm saying is, if you can just buy them anywhere, that's what I felt like what was implied. So I'm gonna go buy a pressure gauge, and I'm gonna hook it onto my hose, and every day I'm gonna go out and record it, and then do what? If the answer is still the same, like you said, I have to buy a booster. So that's,
But
to me.
if we're not giving you at least 20, then it's a different issue.
Yeah, if you're not
There's a
getting,
different, that would be
That
an
is
issue for the whole
true.
community.
That
whole
is true,
neighborhood,
but
yeah.
then it becomes your word against mine, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No,
What am I
because
gonna
if it
do?
was,
What am I gonna do? Take a picture of it every day and come show you with the date and timestamp? Look, look, look.
Well,
That's-
you gotta understand, sometimes it does drop below 20, okay? Because of the volume of the water, then the booster pumps in and kicks it back up. You know, it's just real close. We have to change the water in the tank to keep the water clean. If we keep filling it up every 2 feet, we're gonna kill our motor at the booster station.
Yeah.
And the water's not gonna be recycled in the tank, then we're gonna start getting bad samples, water samples down the street, and then we're gonna have big problems.
other towns must have similar experiences. I
Of course
can't
they
believe
do.
nobody's come up with a solution that is a win-win on both sides, so to speak. You know what I mean?
If you make the tank higher, it's gonna build up more pressure for my pump to pump up the streets, and then we're gonna start blowing our mains because we have to push the water up higher to get it up higher into the tank. It's
Yeah,
just
you'd
the
have
one
to have a
who's-
bigger pump if you made it taller.
Yeah,
That was an
Because they
engineer
had
job,
to
right?
change
it.
When you put the tank in,
right.
that's why
we're
they,
not talking about.
Was the old
moving
tank taller?
This is the same height, it's just wider, it was a
It
quarter of a
was-
million
But it
gallons,
was
this is
lower.
3/4 of a million.
It would set on the opposite side of the
Right,
street,
it was
so it
lower
was
on-
lower.
It was below Route 31,
Mm.
the old
The
steel
old
one.
one.
It was below 31.
So it must have been worse, right?
It was, but it's all relative.
Can we monitor her
yeah,
pressure?
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Would that be a problem, John?
No, I can tell you what the pressure is at the station, with how many feet of water I have in the tank.
I'm in at our house,
Yeah, we can,
like 3 times a week. Is that possible?
that's what you like, to do that.
How long?
My goal wasn't to come and tick everybody off. I apologize if that's,
You're paying the same as
I
everybody else.
understand.
You should get the same
You know,
service.
I just, Scott will tell you, I'm the squeaky wheel, so, you know, but 20 years of bad pressure, yeah. So, yeah,
I know my guys know what house you have, what number house?
14, 14.
Did they ever have wells up there?
Do we have?
Have there ever been wells up there?
I don't know.
Right across the street from the tank house, I know well.
The gentleman that has
Across, he'd have great pressure.
the one that paid for the tank to be painted,
Yes,
they have a well?
yes.
Isn't that funny?
And the next, I believe the next 3 or 4 houses down,
He's
all
down
wells
with
on
the
that
tank.
side of the road.
But he needs a well.
Yeah, I know, but I mean,
Oh,
I'm
We've
saying,
contemplated
if
a
you
well.
were on,
We have. We
Big
absolutely
money.
have.
Big money, then if you have electrical outlet, if you have electrical, storm,
Outage.
Oh, no, I know, our previous house had a well.
Yeah.
I am very aware.
yeah.
And I
Well,
mean, it's a catch-22. You either have a well and nothing when you lose power,
Right, right.
or you lose other things.
But also, I know we have a pressure issue, but you also have to remember, your water, you talk about other customers all treated fairly. They are all treated fairly when you consider your testing, your chemical analysis, all that water is tested, what, monthly? We have like X amount of tests for pure water,
Yeah,
safe water.
it-
So everyone's being treated respectfully in that manner, because their water is constantly being treated
And it-
and tested.
And when I made my point, please don't anyone think I'm saying anyone's doing a bad job or whatever. I'm just saying that as a consumer, when I look at it, I'm saying, hey, you know, I'm paying X and I'm getting, you know, Z, and they're paying X and getting double Z. How, you know,
And I think that's where I struggle, and I get
I'll
it.
give you a classic point.
it's kind of like my house. Our kids go to this, well, regardless where they go to the school, we all get the same. The fire truck gets there just as fast, the police car gets there
No,
just
but-
as fast, the ambulance gets there just as fast. But one guy's taxes are higher than the other. I'm
No,
like,
no, no.
how does that work?
You have gravity sewers. You have gravity sewers at your house. They go down to our collection system. The guy across the street has a Barnes pump in his front yard that he had to pay for, because he wanted to tie into town sewers, and now he has a Barnes or an E1 pump, and he's paying electricity when the pump runs, and he's paying for the wear and tear of that pump.
That's true.
So there's a classic case right
That's
there.
true.
That's after the fact though, but when we did a sewer extension, if that area, certain area needed
Mhm.
the pumps, we provided the pump.
We bought the pumps and included in the betterment for, across everybody.
But they
We didn't charge them
maintained it, but
individually.
we bought the pump.
But
You're right, but if
People
it
tying in now-
breaks down, they're
That's right,
responsible
yes.
for it, and it's
Regularly
electricity.
So they also were getting $30,000 quotes for a new septic system.
Yeah.
So the $6,000 betterment, then everyone paid for that expansion. And everybody ate the cost of those pumps. The second time after the life dies on those, the homeowner would eat it. But it still, again, it was a win-win solution. You know, hey, $6,000 versus $30,000. Okay, you know what I mean? So it's a little different scenario. This unfortunately, at its inception, was never, I wasn't there, I don't know if it was articulated properly or not to the homeowners and between everybody involved. But, you know, when they were putting all the stuff in, maybe one of the things we should do is in a bylaw saying that if they do this, that they must put in these pumps. You know, like, if we give someone permission to tie into our water lines, and we know that it's below grade or whatever the engineering says, that you must, you know, provide this for the homeowner, so there is no issue with, you know, with,
Well, as John mentioned, he told the people on Ash Lane, that's been in the last 10 years or so, that you need booster pumps. We weren't around when Raymond Street and Leo Ave were built.
No, I agree, but
We had no
there's a new
input.
development in
Yeah,
town.
yeah, exactly,
We
new
should have a-
development in
We should have
town.
a little rule that
You
says
have
you
to
will
tell
do X.
somebody,
And to be honest, I mean, if we were being honest with ourselves, there probably wasn't as bad of an issue 10, 15 years ago. Look at how
So
many new
fewer
houses.
customers.
Right, look at how many, and that's cutting my nose off to spite my face by saying it, but that's the truth. there's more customers.
The tank's height is the tank's
It's all
height.
determined by the height of the
There
water in
was
the
few
tank.
customers in that
Right,
area.
that does mean the booster station wasn't taking on and off as fast, but
Yeah.
the height of the tank is the height of the
The
tank.
height of the
That's all I
tank's the
know.
height of the tank, you know?
Right,
And like I say, the only option is, yes, like it or not.
yeah.
So if we can monitor up in that neighborhood for a while, well, let's say a month.
A month?
Till our next meeting? Or maybe
That's
2
12
weeks?
That's 12 readings. If
12
it's-
readings.
if it's
Yeah.
3 a week.
And then,
Those-
you know, if there is a problem up in that neighborhood where it's dropping below 20, we need to, I don't know, and I don't know, because the ugly part of this is, we're there, what other parts of town are we gonna open ourselves to
Yeah,
liability
But,
for?
yeah, we'd be liable, but we are liable. If we're not, John says we need to give them 20, if we're not giving the other parts of town 20, we should be doing something for them too. As Scott mentioned,
So,
fair for one, fair for all.
That could,
yeah. I mean,
But we gotta, I first think we need to monitor to see exactly what what she's
yeah, what the
getting.
problem is. I mean, could there also be any issues, and again, I'm not a plumber, as you guys can tell, or an engineer, but within the house itself, could there be issues with maybe corrosion or clogging of the pipes that is reducing the amount of water that's coming out in the individual's home? You know what I mean? Like, in my house,
Yeah,
I was
it
getting,
could be.
I put in a water softener because it was getting that,
Yeah, iron
that white
manganese.
crap clogging up the arteries. So could it be that issue? I don't know, you know? I know my old house, the
You could
pipes
increase
used
the
to get pitted.
pressure without another pump is increase the pipe size, and that would be expensive.
No,
That's-
volume is volume.
Volume
You know,
versus
The
pressure.
pressure is pressure, no matter what you do. You can have a 10-inch pipe.
Well, you're
or
gonna have
a
so
half
much
inch.
head from the tank.
Right, that's why you got is 10, that's why you got is 20 pounds, no matter if you have a 20-inch pipe or a half-inch pipe. The
Yeah,
only difference is the
Well, you
volume
have
of
to
water you're gonna
increase.
get out of it.
yeah.
and that's,
No.
yeah, the bigger pipe isn't gonna,
two different.
What do you have that monitors, like, how do you read it, John? How do you
Read what?
read the pressure?
Sides.
Is it something
It looks
just
like
you
the
put on the
pressure on
outside
your pool.
spigot?
Tire pressure.
Yeah.
You just leave it there and you monitor it? and-
Well, just go over to the outside faucet and turn the outside faucet on, and we'll see what the pressure is. Then shut the outside faucet off and we'll be all set.
I can tell you, we did a little research online, and it took us 55 seconds to fill up a 5-gallon bucket with the outside, that same one that he's gonna measure, and that's where they've all measured the pressure from, is that outside spigot. It took us 55 seconds. There's an equation, I didn't bring it with me, but there's an equation for the PSI that equals. But I can tell you, it took 55 seconds.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
I don't either, but
my phone in here otherwise.
yeah, but I'm just, that was one of the things that said, fill up, take a 5-gallon bucket, ensure it's a 5-gallon bucket, and then time it. And that's how long it took us.
That's your buddy buckets.
And that was supposedly after the tank was filled, 2 days later. It took 55 seconds to run 5 gallons. That seems like a long time to me. Just saying.
So it sounds like a booster pump is the only answer here.
In the home.
Yeah.
But isn't the spigot on the front of the house, that's, how do I want to ask this?
Your corporation, where the shut off is?
Yeah,
Okay.
is that true? On the front?
Is,
There's,
We are
He's got
required
a
20
curb stop,
pounds,
right?
20 pounds of PSI coming into the house, and that would be in the cellar.
okay.
so the outside of the house doesn't count.
Right. 20 pounds of PSI coming into the house.
In the
And that will be
building.
in the cellar. So when you take a gauge,
Okay.
and put it down the cellar, it's gonna be higher than the outside faucet.
So then, why is the water pressure measured on the outside of the house?
How is it?
Ease-
I understand you're
For
gonna,
ease, down in the cellar where you're
Yes,
gonna.
to get to your home, you have to be
Inside
home
the
to
house.
let them in. and all that stuff.
I have great news. I am home every single day. Great news. You can come see me 5 days a week. I'm home. Open 7 to 6. But that's where I'm confused. So if you're measuring the outside,
It's for ease of getting into the pipes. 'Cause typically, you get down in the basement, where do you tie into,
I understand.
where do you tie into something? You don't usually have a spigot inside the house.
Not usually.
That
That's a
you
good
can,
point,
that you can
too.
screw something to.
No. But then that, you'll never get a true measurement.
Yeah.
That's
So-
what I see.
Measurement from the outside is gonna be to the homeowner's benefit.
Yeah, it'd be worse at the spigot, because now it's gonna
Yeah.
grow. I would
I live
think.
in a
It was
ranch.
gonna be, it was gonna be higher down the cellar than
Yeah.
it is on the outside house.
Right.
Because of gravity.
Which is good, you know,
Right.
10 feet.
All you have to do is measure the height of the ground level you're at the sill plate to the foundation. It's probably 8 feet. When you're at the ground level at the sill plate, there's 8 feet down to the basement floor.
Right.
So there's 4 pounds right there.
Right.
So if you're getting 22
Yeah, then you
at
got,
your sill cock
It's
at the
26.
foundation floor
Should
coming
be
in, you
hitting
have
26.
26,
Should be. Yeah,
give or take.
All right.
all right.
Well, you
I
Well,
don't know.
I'll give you
So we have
food
to
for
make a
thought.
motion for that, or what do we do for that?
No, as I said, Joe, have the guys go up there and monitor it, keep a log in the truck, because they go up to the tank occasionally, right? When they're at the tank, they can swing over the house.
Okay.
See, if,
Thanks.
I don't know what we do for the, I mean, if it's one house up there, it's gonna be every one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know,
and that's where, you know.
your neighbors between you and the tank, do they all have trouble?
Yep. And no, I didn't advertise I was coming. Hey, I'm
Don't worry,
just
it will be
telling you.
now.
Huh?
It will be now.
No, no.
That's all right.
If they
You
can
know
find
what?
Public access, yeah.
No,
You can't
that's
solve problem by
not,
No,
avoiding it.
public
You get it
access
right.
TVs,
That's what it is.
I could have done that and that's not how
Yeah.
that's not how I operate.
No.
My concern is my house. You know, and if everybody else ends up, they benefit, then great, but I have a business that I run, you know, out of my home. So I have to be able to shower so they can stand me every day. Listen, it's true.
I'm trying to tell Tom that, but he doesn't listen.
Yeah, there's only so much times kids can puke on me and I can't shower. All right, well, you
Oh,
know, where to
thank
find me.
Okay, we'll monitor it.
Thank you.
Item number 5, outstanding debt. Did we ever do a rough total on that?
It's right here.
you have it in your packet, it's all broken down.
Yeah, but it goes, when it goes across, yeah.
All right, what are we looking at?
Oh, last month we asked
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
debt on the water and the
That's
sewer
right, that's
department to
right.
see where we were.
So in 2018, it looks like it's, about $200,000 for water and 70,000 for sewer. Well, that's including interest, including the interest payment.
Okay, when I look at this, it says the fund sewer phase 1 issue and
Oh, this top sewer,
and
yeah.
98 ends in 2018. Principal remaining is 60,000 and interest is 30.
So we're gonna pay $160,000 payment this fiscal year.
63,000. Does that mean-
63,000 and that's done.
All right.
So sewer is gonna,
So this coming year with.
2000, yeah,
we're gonna retire,
2018.
we're gonna retire, that's this year.
That's this
This
year,
year.
you're gonna retire phase 1.
Right, so it's 63 and then we're gonna add, but we
Then-
also this year gotta pay the 70 too, right?
Then jump down to,
There's about 180 on phase
Phase
2.
two, yeah,
About
that's
210 phase 2.
So, but we're
Yep.
gonna retire 60,000, we're gonna retire phase 1 this year.
Yep. Now, here's the next question against this. Out of this, let's just look at the first one and use the sewer one, because it's only got 63,000 remaining. Has that money from betterments been collected already, a third of it, or does it all belong to the sewer users? You know what I mean? Because remember, it's a third from this guy on the side of the street, third from that guy, and the sewer users get a third in the middle. So out of 63K, should we assume that the sewer department pays 21 and that the betterments have already supplied 42 of the 63? That's what I don't know from looking at this. Does that make sense?
I would assume, that's,
Does everyone,
that's the collector does all that.
does that make sense? You guys understand what I'm asking?
Or, yeah, or is that 63 coming in just out of sewer?
That's 63 coming from us.
No. But it's saying on the bond remaining 63,000. It's going to be paid in 2018. So the question is, of the 63, is the sewer department responsible for 100% or a third which would make it 21,000 of the 63, and the betterments, or the general fund somewhere already has the money to cover the 42. That's the question to the accountant and treasurer, I think. Does that make sense? Everybody understand what I'm asking?
I know what you're saying.
All right. If you want, I can,
Well,
you
the whole
know,
thing is, if you
I'll
look,
give you a better clue. The copy you have, Laurie, in the office is colored. It's a lot easier. If you guys look at it, sewer's green, water's
Well,
Yeah,
you
that's-
will,
but if you carry it across, green and blue,
yeah.
it's gonna take
No,
you,
no, no.
it's gonna
But-
take you where you wanna
So,
be.
but if we look at
What
line item
What he's
one,
asking is where is the money coming from?
yeah, so on line, if we look at line item one, it's the same for all of them.
Yeah.
Out of the 60,000 plus 3,000 interest, 63K.
Yeah,
The way that the bond, the way that the articles read is 1/3 the sewer department, 2/3 the abutters. So out of that $63,000 due to the bank, is the sewer department in our budget responsible for 21,000 or 40, or 63,000?
well, what we're gonna do is right now is Lori's gonna go get the budget and see what we have for debt service that we paid for this year. Now it'll tell us it was 63,000 plus the
But that's,
other one.
but that's also, there's two things going on. I don't know how the accounting for it, because they put it all in our budget, but they charge a betterment and give us $42,000 towards our revenue for our budget. Or does the $63,000 come out of our revenue
I don't know.
to all the sewer users?
I believe the assessor's office.
I don't know what the answer is. So somebody's gonna tell us
Is, my question,
if the betterment was paid by these, by the homeowners.
is this 63,000 1/3 of the total that's gonna be paid? And that's our,
That could be, that's another scenario. That's what we don't know. That's the question.
is that, that's our
That's a good
share?
point. Yeah, that's a good
This
point.
this is a chart of all of the town's debt.
Right, the
So
town,
the
this
betterment,
is
the
the
betterment
town's
would be
debt.
in there. The betterment,
So the town's gonna pay a total of 63,000, let's assume.
Somewhere 63,000 is being paid, right?
Yeah. So the question is it coming out of the budget, the sewer budget, all 63 or just 21?
Yeah, I don't know. We
the
do
town
get-
collects betterments, then that's,
I mean, we get bills from the treasurer's office, put it that way. Where it's coming from, I don't know.
So we have to understand where the revenue to cover this has it already come in past years. People paid off their betterments already. And those funds for the betterments, if they put it on as a line item on our budget, 100%, then that betterment money should come into our revenue stream to cover it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, does it come in annually or?
And that's what it's precisely the question. I don't know where those monies are going. I haven't. So are we only responsible for a third of this, all of it? And if it is 100% on our budget, are we getting the funds from the betterments to cover that portion of our budget? I
But
don't
when,
know.
when we did that phase one, how long was the betterment for?
20
20
years.
years.
20 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
98 to 2018.
But you can pay them off early.
Right, so you got 1 year to go.
Yeah, you
Gets
could
paid
pay them
off
off
next
early
year.
though.
Right.
You know, that you sold your house or you had the cash.
Sure, yep.
You know, I don't want to pay the interest, bang, here's $6,000. What did they do with that money? I don't know.
I believe that sat in a sort of escrow.
That's right, but that sort of escrow, wherever it is, should cover 2/3 of this.
I remember talking to
or the
Lisa
other
Berg.
2/3?
I remember talking to Lisa
This is
Berg
the
about
total
that.
town, the total town is 60K, 63K, so that's what we have to understand. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what it says,
Sewer debt service says it's 133,880.
For which year?
133,830 for debt service.
For 2017 or?
For this
Yeah, I'll tell you where you got that.
We're in 18
Two
right
60s,
now.
a 3 and a 10 interest charge. 60 and 60, 3 and 10, but it's still not telling you how it's getting paid.
Yeah, it's still not telling you where the revenue's coming
Where
from,
the-
betterment funds
There's
or
only
we're
one thing
charging
to
our
do.
budget?
I
You're
think
gonna have to approach either the treasurer's office or...
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
remember talking to Lisa Berg about this a number of, 3 or 4 years ago, and I can't remember what she said. If it's stored in retained earnings, or if it's...
In our budget, do we have a line
It is
item?
stored up, they have to store it up.
In the sewer budget, is there a line item that we're given by Richard?
Yeah,
For
debt
debt?
service, that's what I just read.
So that comes out of our budget?
no, it's okay if it comes out of our budget, where's the revenue to cover it coming from? Once an expense, but you have to have
Bottom
revenue to
line.
cover it. The revenue, if they give us 100% in our budget, then not only are we charging the sewer users this, but the betterment should also be included as a revenue line.
133.8
That's a cost.
sewer debt service. We cut a check
Yep.
from our sewer funds to
But,
pay for that.
but like your business,
Yeah.
you have revenue and then you pay
Yeah, it's really-
the plumbing supply store.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is,
133.
are those assessments being funneled into the sewer department?
As revenue, I don't
They have
know.
to be.
Yeah, you
I
have to
don't,
ask
that's
for
the
it.
question.
Yeah.
That is the question.
All I know is we're responsible, we will receive a bill, maybe
For
two
100% of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
133.
Now, but in your sewer bill, you should only be covering 1/3 of it, not like 3/3.
Right.
2/3 should be coming from that betterment that was
So,
paid.
so the next question is he taking, that's a third. Are the other 2/3 coming from,
From a general fund
federal
betterment,
fund?
are they putting it in our revenue line? I don't know. It may be in our retained earnings. I
I
don't know.
think
It may be included in this retained earnings for your
Remember, she said
488.
it's
Well,
in
you
our
only have
retained
so many
earnings.
users, so they have to know who's paying.
Yeah, no, they, and it's their job to do this. They have to have separate
Right, that's
accounting
what I
systems,
meant,
yeah.
right.
Now, what I would like to do is to ask them, show me, you know, I trust but verify, because they could have made a mistake.
Sure.
In our favor or against us.
And
I
the
don't
easiest
know.
way
Or
doing
it could be
that,
100% accurate.
doing that at 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night,
Well, they're
Is it
open,
gonna
town
happen?
town hall's
Yeah.
open Thursday nights, 5
come
to
down during
7.
the day and.
You have to come down during the day and ask questions, or at night,
Stop at
Thursday
the
night.
assessor's office or the collector's office.
It's open on Thursday nights.
Yeah. Or we can just ask them for a,
Well, I'll tell you one thing, some of the questions you're asking, I don't even think of. I think it'd be
Yeah.
ideal that you go down and talk to them, because you're the money man.
Yeah.
You know the numbers, we don't. I'm not.
I understand. What do I have? Tomorrow night I have a meeting. I have this charter guy coming. I can call her on the phone. Who is it?
Debbie Tudo is
Debbie?
the accountant. She's not in
Yeah.
on Thursday evenings, but Rich is. the treasurer.
Rich is it. I'll ask Rich. I can call Rich. I'll try to call him tomorrow.
Well, on that outstanding debt, when I ran the numbers quick off the top of my head, off the colored sheet, I thought the sewer department was up around 270. I think the water was up around 800 or something, for what we have to pay off.
Oh,
You know,
Okay.
Oh, total
total
left.
debt.
yeah, yeah. Or is this the debt here? No, that's
This is
retained
yearly.
earnings.
This is yearly.
That's what we have.
Retained earnings.
Retained earnings.
Yeah, I think the, over the next several years, the water department's up around $800,000 in debt to pay off a couple of water main jobs. And the sewer department's carrying maybe 300. But as you can see, the sewer department's in 2020, you know, 3.5 years away, 3 years away.
All that debt goes away.
Water,
Yeah.
water is gonna lose some in 20,
And,
yeah.
what's very important is
That's
when
corrosion control.
when we pushed for those phases, we told them that once it was paid off, it would end up being less fixed cost for the sewer user, but
Yeah.
reduce the rates, so.
And the
Unless
other,
there's more capital that needs to be done. but a portion
Dudley
of it
Oxford
should
Road,
reduce
Healy
rates.
Road will retire in 2023.
Yeah, 2023.
Now, it's
Sewer
a,
phase,
it's a very important thing too, I think, is that,
sewer phase 2 is 20.
what happens a lot is people say, oh, that means that we have 300K more to spend or something. And it's okay to say, you know what, we have to put some aside as a contingency plan for capital emergencies, improvements, et cetera. Like the water department needs a new backhoe or a truck or something, the sewer department needs a jet or whatever, you know. But a lot of that should, in both departments, should go to relieve some of the burden of the rates on the consumer, so to speak. That's something nobody in government ever does, the federal government, the state government.
Well, the other thing is a lot of your stations, a lot of sewer stations need to be updated.
I agree.
I,
So we need to put together a capital plan, a logic, I'll give you an example, and there was a time when this town needed something, and they went to the thing, and they said, oh, we need, I don't know, 160K for something. Well, is it broken? No, but it's 15 years old. Well, so you don't, and they wanted to replace it immediately. I said, whoa, better, how about if we put 20 grand aside for the next 4 years, you know, or whatever it is, to cover it, and by the time it really dies, we can have a new one, versus they just want it right away. It's like, so we need to be, what we need to do is put together a capital plan for what you need, and say, every year spend like 50 or 100,000 improving those things. You know what I mean? Especially as this debt comes down, you know, it's a perfect time to do it.
As I said, you know, this year, you know, you got, guys are gonna need a truck. You have to get a truck, you know?
But you want to be proactive,
Like
not
three-
reactive.
Yeah, so my point is, and I'm not being a wise guy, but just for, what I'm trying to say is, 3 years ago, if we said, hey, if we put 15 grand away now, or 20 grand away a year now, and a contingency, and when we do our budget, say, this is the truck has 3 years left, we want to be able to purchase a new one without going through all the rigmaroles.
Well, that's where all the money goes back into our retained earnings.
Yeah,
we
it
can
should
take
be a
it-
line item on your budget, so you're building up enough money to cover it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but if you don't, that's how we build up our money in retained earnings.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to have a separate thing in the budget and not use that and put it in retained earnings. It automatically goes back into retained earnings.
I understand it. So you have a line on your budget that says contingency.
No, but the money that if we set our budget,
Yeah.
okay? And any money that we have coming in and above and beyond that goes into retained earnings.
I know, and I'm saying something completely different, because that means that the rates are too high, in a sense, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, if you put a line item in your budget that says contingency, and then you support it by saying, we're gonna need a new pump station, or we're gonna need X, Y, and Z over the next 5 years, and you say it's gonna be 20 grand a year, specifically, you're building up 20 grand a year for the next 5 years, you got 100 grand, of that, what you're saying is, of the 936K, 100 grand was set aside specifically for this.
Right, but
So it's the two different approaches. But in other words, we're getting lucky, because if that pump, let's say we only had, let's say $1 million worth of pumps go all at once, we'd be like, we got darn lucky that we have it sitting there. What I'm saying is you plan for it.
Right, but the whole thing I'm saying is, if our budget is set such and such, and we take in more, okay, without even having a line item, so you're saying 15 grand. So now my budget's gonna cover 15 grand that we're never gonna spend.
You're building.
You're gonna spend it
you're
in 4 or
building
5
up-
years.
Right, but I gotta
See,
cover
you're
that budget
building,
now.
you're building up
I gotta-
retained earnings, but you really don't know why you're building them up. I'm
Right,
saying
but
you
don't
plan
you
to build them up.
Yes, but if you have retained earnings, it's not, it can go to anywhere. If you turn around and say just for the pumps or the
Perfectly
truck or
cognizant of
whatever.
that, but I'm saying you need to plan these things.
Department of Revenue has been beating us up for years to cut our budgets because we're budgeting more than our revenue. So to add a line
Wait a
item,
minute,
you're not going
but
anywhere.
time out. But if you went to them, and you're totally supporting what I'm trying to tell you, if you went to them and logically said, we're building up these retained earnings because the pump stations are 20 years old, we're gonna have to replace 4 of them, that's gonna be 800,000, and another X, Y, and Z for a new truck, then say, oh, I understand why it's there for, and it's logical, it makes financial
In
sense.
order to do
Right now,
that,
you
we'll
say,
have to raise
how
our
come-
rates then.
But you've already done it, your rates are already covered, you get 936K. Right now, they're looking at it saying, you have 936K, you're not telling you what you need it for, just a rainy day, so therefore you're overcharging. That's what they're telling you. What I'm telling you is, have a game plan, a line item in those budgets that supports 936,000 of the pumps are 20 years old, we've depreciated them, they're gonna go, when they go, I don't have to go to the town, ask for $1 million, I'm gonna have the money retained earnings, bang, you're gonna have to ask town to spend the money, but you'll already have it there. And so one's proactive, one's reactive. I think we're damn lucky that we have that retained earnings sitting there. To be honest with you, from a financial thing, is what I do all day. I don't see a plan. I don't see a plan as to why you have that money, which is what the DOR is telling you.
And that's what the DOR is saying about our budget has nothing to do with retained earnings.
You're absolutely right, the DOR
Telling you.
tells you your budget is equivalent to your income stream. Then we're constantly being batted to cut our budget 10%. through the town.
Sewer was getting beat up year after year after year.
Because they're saying our income isn't covering what we're spending out.
Right.
And if you look at the
What
old,
we're budgeting too much. You can't
You can't
budget
budget too
fluff.
much. You can't,
You
you're
can't.
right.
it's
You're right.
not
You're right.
fluff if you tell them specifically what it is for.
If your revenues won't cover it, they won't allow it.
You're not on the same page, because
All right, well then let's finish.
As a
guys. I can't be
let
here
me
all
just say
night.
one thing, as a financial person, if you tell me you have $1 million surplus and you have no reason why it's there, I'm gonna say your rates are too high, period, okay? That's what, in effect, the DOR is telling you. If you tell them that I'm planning for this because I have $3 million of infrastructure, which in the next 5 to 10 years is gonna go bad, and I'm trying to have a contingency, so when it goes bad, I have the money sitting there, they're gonna say, that makes sense, okay? So, because one can drive you into bankruptcy, one can avoid bankruptcy, all right? That's what they're, in essence, what they're telling you. They have rules and laws around it and all that stuff, but if you present it logically to them, right now they say, you have $900,000, why? And we're going, oh,
Yeah.
our rates were higher than our revenue.
that's not what DOI is saying though.
I'm
It
telling
had
you.
nothing to do with that.
No,
Okay,
DOR is saying.
Because when I sat with DOR, when Norma Cash Smith called them on me, and I had that
Norma's been
contingency.
dead for 20 years.
I understand that, but she called them,
Now you sound like my father.
and there was, and I had a line item for $10,000 to cover these exact things. She told Norma, that's perfect, and walked away. So if you explain it to them logically, they're gonna be fine with it.
Have we ever seen anyone from DOR in the office?
No, Norma used to call them.
No.
I like being.
Good, goes-
Nobody's come since Norma died, that she used to
Goes
call
through the
them.
accountant's
All I
office.
know is like Scott's correct,
Can we-
income, budget, and the only way we have extra money is like something maybe went in our favor. A chemical bill was lower than anticipated, an electric bill was lower than anticipated, or some other people jumped on board and they paid the fees to tie into town sewer, town water. That was in our favor. That's where that source of money comes from. And those fees took, what, 20 years to build up? They didn't build up overnight.
No, there was 800,000 there 10 years ago in water, because ours was always sitting at I'd say 300 to 500,000.
So water just spent $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it all didn't come out of retained earnings.
Yes, it
Yes,
did.
it did.
$1 million of retained earnings?
That's how we did School
Pine Mill.
Street, Pine Mill Street.
Mill Street and Pine Street, we paid, we dropped took $1 million.
100%, there's no loan on that.
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Then you built it up so if you built it up in the year, the rates are too high.
No.
That was built up overnight.
There's other sources of income that,
How
like you
high,
say,
how high was how high was this figure before? 1.9 million? You
It
just
was
spent,
it was a little less than that. That went up a little bit this year. It was,
Yeah.
I think it was 1.6.
wow.
But it's an
Yes,
old system,
we
it's gonna need
Now
improvements.
discuss the
Okay,
actual
okay,
question
now-
about
now-
the sewer camera?
outstanding debt. Now the next question comes,
No,
okay.
we never
the
discussed the
Purchase of the sewer camera. Did we ever get any info on that?
Well, I had the price of $71,000, the same one that the Webster Sewer Department is buying, all right? But we have, granted our sewer camera doesn't work, it doesn't back up, it goes forward, but we have to pull it back with a rope, it won't come back. But, you know, the 71 grand, but we're also looking at, we need a truck. I mean, the truck that we have right now, on the emergency we had over the weekend, they bring down a generator, they push the emergency brake to stop the truck, you know, to park it, that cable snapped, then all of a sudden the brake line blew a hole in it, so now that truck's getting fixed right now, because it has no brakes. We had to have it towed down to the place to get it fixed.
It's an expensive weekend.
We gotta kind of prioritize, you know, where we wanna send out, push our money to.
The truck's brakes were bad?
They're gone. They stopped, put it in park, put it in emergency brake, and that cable snapped. Then he went to shift it in gear, and all of a sudden went right to the floor, the brake pedal, because it blew a hole in the line with the
Do you
brake
know
pedal.
if
Whole
they're
brake
just
system.
patching the line, or they're gonna redo all the brake lines?
They're not doing all the brake,
Okay,
no.
so
They're just doing a job that needs to be fixed.
So if that didn't, it's not
They're not
their
doing all
shoes
the
in the
brake
road?
No, they're not doing all the brake, because it's not broke.
Wouldn't make
Cost a
any
fortune.
sense to do it more.
But
That'd cost
if
a
this little
fortune.
section
Oh,
runs,
if he changes the whole line, yes, to where it's running to.
Might
But he's not changing all the brake lines in the trucks.
That's the 2003 Ford, right?
Yeah, with 130,000 miles on it.
Nobody goes and replaces brake lines.
I mean, you need
I
a,
don't care about the rotors and all that stuff.
It's not that, it's the brake
I
line.
understand, that's what I asked.
Mike flagged me down Tuesday morning. He told me about the incident with the truck, how they went to stop it, and they heard the bang, and the fluid was leaking, etc. I told him, you're gonna have to get a tow truck, you can't drive it, get it to the garage. Then, this is a good case, so we know what's going on. Later on that day, Mike called me, he was in trouble to solder some copper tubing down inside the pump chamber on Patterson Ave. So I dropped where I was, because I said, well, this thing has to run. You know what I mean? It's in the afternoon. I went down into that pump chamber on Patterson Ave, and I was astonished. I almost want to say it's a scene from Frankenstein. The equipment down in that chamber, antiquated,
Yeah.
and the way it works. And that's possibly 1948 or 1952, original equipment.
So it's time to,
Mickey Mouse.
Big bucks to change that station.
Exactly, you know, but I was just astonished. So Patterson Ave and Conan have twin systems
Mhm.
with 50 to 60-year-old antiquated equipment in it.
So do we know how much it costs for these?
$100,000.
They don't make it, first of all, they don't make it
I don't
anymore.
think
I don't know, I need to
Let you
replace
keep
it with
that.
modern systems.
Yeah, but the box that it's in, you'd have to have it waterproof. And if they would let that pass, it would
So
still
to
be
replace-
expensive, but you'd have to replace it. That's a lot of money.
Lots of money.
And you're talking about 10 houses on each street.
Yeah, there's not enough houses to, you gotta find another way to get around it.
Well, can we reroute it past that to another station? Is there another station that's big?
Both on dead-end streets, ponds right
At the
there.
bottom of the hill, dead-end streets.
And the pond is there.
I think
Yeah,
what
what's
John's
the
saying,
alternative, though? We have to fix them.
no, I think what John's saying, before we spend $71,000 on a camera,
Yep,
we have other
yeah.
pressing issues coming up,
I agree.
You know?
you know?
In worst case scenario, I'm sure Webster will let us use a camera when we need a camera. Ours go forward, we can go, we just have to pull ours back. We won't be camera in our mains. We still can be jetting, but we can't camera them and see exactly where all the
We-
laterals are going.
Yeah.
So I'm suggesting to hold off on the camera, let's save some of this money, get these trucks fixed, so we can at least start pulling out our own motors without going to borrow Webster's truck to get, because their crane can pick up the motors.
So what do we need? If we look at our system in the next year to 3 years, what do we need? 2 pumping stations, right? These old antiquated ones or something.
Well, we need generators.
Yeah.
We need generators at the stations, you know, especially your main stations. You have to haul your generators to these stations down the middle of the storm. I mean, if it's middle of a blizzard and you got 3 feet of snow, you gotta get there.
So how many generators do we need?
Well, that's the thing we're gonna look at. So we're talking about, we needed a truck, you know, with a crane on it, so that's gotta be
70 grand,
easy.
that's a 450 or
Okay.
550, that's 70
Okay.
grand.
That's 70 grand, then you're
Plus the
looking at generators, granted, you know, we'll see what we can do in the budget, on the generators each year for one station, we can put it ourselves. And then you also gotta be looking down the line that we got, the DEP coming on infiltration. We gotta start thinking about that.
R&R.
Yeah, I.
All right, so can you put together a list of the things you can see? You already have it?
I think I do.
Good. And I guess my point is, these are the things that, again, when we do our budget, we can ask the DOR if they're cool with it, but we need, you know, we have to know what our capital expenditure is gonna be for the existing projects, what our wish list is, how much it's gonna cost, what the rates need to be to cover those things.
Okay, this is the price I got for the camera, $71,397. And in fact, I had this all set for the, Bruce.
Should put one of those helmets on already, so.
All right, sewer department is to replace the 103 utility truck body. The 450, the utility body with a crane on it, they're talking about $69,000.
All right, so we don't have to do it now, but can we get a list maybe for next meeting or something of all the things, think of everything you need and get like a ballpark of what it's gonna cost, so we can go through it and,
Well, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get prices for Conan Ave, Patterson Ave.
yeah, all right, well,
Well,
that's fine.
Here's what we'll do on Conant and Patterson, when the other company's down working on Lakeside,
The last one. Just-
run over with me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
ballpark, yeah.
Run the guy over, show him the system.
And then if you can prioritize them, 1 through, if there's 10 of them, 1 through 10, if there's 20, 1 through 20, and then what year do you think we need them by? And that'll be part of the prioritization. But that way, at least we'll have a game plan of what's coming up for capital.
Yeah, because you gotta be careful how much money you're gonna spend down there. It's only 10 houses.
Yeah.
So it
but-
might be easier just to give everybody a pump and pay for the pump, and they pump to
Yeah.
West Main Street.
But
Yep, that's good.
you're gonna buy this pump, and the pump's on
No, I
for
understand that,
life.
you'd buy
So
the first one.
you're buying the first one. Now you're telling that homeowner it's his responsibility?
I understand that, but
It might
it's
be-
either that, I worked for Gioso 15 years, put a pumping station in like that, it's gonna cost you $500,000. There's a lot of money there, you
Yeah.
got water, you'd have to put sheeting up, it's not an easy
Yeah, because
thing.
you're below the level of the lake.
Right,
Yeah.
there's a
Everything
lot
is
of
No, I
water,
agree, but
Yeah.
you know?
So anyway, we're not gonna kill it. tonight.
Yeah, like I say, we'll put a sewer department wish list together, and on the flip side, when they start doing the work on Lakeside, that money is coming out of retained earnings?
Yes.
The sewer money?
$100,000.
Yep.
That's coming out of retained earnings, so you're looking at a
A diff,
false number there.
yeah.
Yeah, but we know it has to be done. And that still doesn't allow for a generator there either, right? That's gonna be an additional cost.
Actually, we voted at town meeting to spend that money. Is it still, does
Yeah,
it still
there's a
sit?
town warrant, yeah.
It still sits in retained earnings until
Until you
we,
draw it.
until you draw it? Okay.
Yeah, so really the three, well, does that 48 include that money or not? Is that like free?
No,
cash or-
that's, yeah, I think it does,
'Cause if
until we
it's-
draw on
If
it.
that 48 is free cash, it means that,
It's retained earnings, yeah.
yeah. So free cash.
All right, so John, like I say, we talked about the sewer camera. We'll put a list together for the sewer department of the, you know, the pitfalls and what has to be allocated. So, item number 6, John Meehan, water and sewer report.
All right, so what happened this month was, we had the meter repair list, all the water and sewer bills were sent out, and Lori did a great job. We didn't have very many complaints, so she did a great job working with,
Thanks, Laurie.
we repaired a water leak on West Street and on Day Lane at Sunnyside, and we had one customer leak on the customer side, and they repaired that. Amarillo came and ground down Mill Street and part of Pine Street. We raised all the manhole covers. They paved Mill Street and Pine Street and also the sidewalks. So Mill Street is done.
Those aren't sidewalks, those are driveways.
Well, on Pine Street, yeah. But, you know, we hooked up with the highway superintendent, Amarillo and us, we all walked down, this is exactly what he wanted, this is exactly what he got. So the highway's all on board, exactly the way it came out. We put a 1-foot riser on a hydrant on 2nd Ave. We had a problem with the standpipe over the week, just before the weekend. Gage was telling me we had 44.5 feet of water in that tank. And it ended up only having 10 feet of water in the tank. We were running around with my head cut off because they had no water pressure. My tank's telling me I got 45.5. I'm looking for a main break in Sunny, over on Raymond Ave, where the water's going, because there's no pressure there. And finally, we got the fire truck, we got up the tank, to find out really what we had in the tank, and we had 10 feet of water in there. So then I had to start playing the game of taking the water from Bates to bring it up to the standpipe without draining the Bates down, because there's 3/4 million gallons of Bates, and I needed 3/4 million gallons of the standpipe, so I had to play the game all night long with the pumpage, so we still had fire protection on this side of town, where we tried to fill up this side of town. So it took me a little over 2 days.
And where'd that water go?
That water went, we found out the valve on the corner of Mason Road and Mason Road and Sawmill, the high zone, low zone, the valve opened up. So the high zone overpressured the low zone. So I looked at my pumpage and I said, how can the tank be empty when I put over 280,000 gallons up there? And I'm just pulling my hair out because I got no water anywhere, you know? And then I looked at my daily average, what I pumped. I only pumped 550,000 gallons. Oh, 230,000 if it went over the hill, that's impossible. That would have been a lot higher. And then as I said, there's no water in the friggin' tank. So what he did is we just recycled it, ran right around the big circle.
They'll pump it around the neighborhood.
Yeah, because the high zone has a higher pressure than the low zone, so it just went into the low zone, went through the booster station, and made a big circle. It was a
Well, you
nightmare.
didn't lose it, that was a good thing.
Huh? We didn't lose it, no, we didn't lose it, but, I mean,
It's got a lot of miles on it.
it took me a while to figure that one out.
You wore it out a little bit.
Yeah, wore it out.
Okay, so we had a problem with that, it took it, we fixed it, LaFleur came down, the whole thing is, it's all it's digital readout and all that stuff. Everything's back to normal, almost, but we still got some more tweaking to do with the gauges and stuff like that. So, that's where we are with that. We're almost ready to where we want to be at the tank. Brian finished school and he will be taking his test sometime this month for his D1. On the sewer department side, we pulled a pump on Lawrence Road, rag stuck in it. So down on Lawrence Road, this is the second time we've done it in probably 3 weeks. We ended up putting flyers out to these 10, 15 houses. But somebody was throwing some stuff down there and stopped. So the flyers work when you drop them off at people's houses, not to throw stuff down. We pulled the pump out on Pondview. We had to get the Wapsie Sewer Department truck to get over there because the crane got over the bushes and all that stuff. I called Methuen today, and they will be coming down at the end of the month to start the stations, doing the stations. Mike has been working with us on the water department project, meter repair list, and Mill Street projects So Mike's been working with us quite a bit on the sewer department, and yes, I'm keeping track of his hours.
And just DOR is gonna beat us up if we're not.
And we just went over what happened over the long weekend with the problems at Patterson Ave. That the solenoid switch went, there was a crack in one of the fittings, spark plug had to be cleaned, the check valve was stuck, so that's what happened over the weekend. And I just told you about the sewer department truck cable was broke, and I just got text and said the truck's ready, so truck's back on the road tomorrow.
Did you get it, how much it was?
No, I didn't ask yet. Prioritize, get it back on the road.
All right.
Who repaired the truck? Okay.
That's all I have. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was suggested, unless you want to bring that up, Jay, about the...
Oh, I just have one other question. You gentlemen, you just want to read that letter that we printed up due to the shortage of help. John, on your water department, do you have generators at your pump stations?
Oh,
So 3 and 6 and the booster have standard kicking
generator
generators.
standing right there.
Because I mean, weather-wise, if I was just thinking of
What,
that.
the one question I have with this hiring a person, is he ever coming back?
Who?
The one that's out,
He cannot do the job. He has a doctor note saying that he cannot do that job.
and that's permanent.
That's right from his doctor.
Okay, so, all right, so then we need to,
And that person that we're talking about sending that letter to has seen, I believe he has seen this, came right out and said to him, I will not be coming back to the sewer department. I can't do the job.
So what is that, all right, they're not coming back to the sewer, do they retire? Do they get a different job within government? I don't
Well, right now, he's trying to get another job in town.
All right.
In the town of Dudley.
In the town of Dudley,
Yeah.
so he can retire.
is this work-related? Was this
Yes.
a work-related injury?
Yes.
It was, okay.
All right.
So if he doesn't get another job in town, and
He can't do this one, and then he would have to retire. Or that
Oh,
would be a legal thing for
Yeah,
others in town to
well,
deal
we
with.
had one person in the water department got hurt on a job, and couldn't do the job, and the town turned around and sent him to school and retrained him so he could have another job.
Well,
But this is just to get the ball rolling and...
I don't know if we need a motion.
Oh, if we just need one
Yeah, we just need one sign.
filled out.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
We'll
if we
set-
just
we'll set
get
it on the table.
get the ball game rolling,
Right.
and we're trying to light a little fire here, can we, because this job would have to follow the union rules, right?
Yep.
Posted in,
well,
posted in.
that's why,
Is there anybody in-house that,
Yeah, yes, he's gonna move, yes, he wants it. And he's been doing it for a year and, what, 16, 14 months, 16 months now, doing that job.
from,
Yeah,
so then we're gonna have to fill that position?
yeah,
But yeah,
But you're gonna fill it as a laborer,
right.
how
and
many
then they'll get
folks?
the license after?
There is no license required. Well, this is another thing I wanna talk about later on that we're gonna have to change. And like I was saying, that anybody that we hire now, I would like them to, with the board's permission, to go get his D1 and T1 license for going on to the sewer department. Okay, because now that we're kind of combining, we can have one guy on call all weekend and do both departments.
That's what I was just gonna ask you, is how many guys are on, in each department, and what are the opportunities to make it, in essence, one department separate, you know, I work these many hours here, it's split at 50/50, I don't care. So that if we
That
have
makes sense.
5 guys in each department, and if we combine them, we can get down to 8, I mean,
Right, but see, the one guy on the other department right now cannot do our job because he doesn't have the licenses.
mhm.
All right, and he has 5 years left to go, and I don't think he's
Yeah.
interested. But I'm looking at it, at anybody coming in new, say from the sewer department,
Yeah.
saying that you get a D1, T1. D1 is distribution, and a T1 is for the chemical, and he can be on call for both water and sewer, to take care of the stations.
That's gonna have to be negotiated.
Exactly, that's all
But
through the union.
That's,
So my other question would be is,
so that's not even in our.
what's not?
Well, yeah, we can write it up and submit it to the union, and,
We have to ask because we don't even negotiate with the
Yeah,
union, they
right.
do.
Yeah, but the, you know.
Well,
And there's no
so your
opportunity.
intention is to fill the, what was the?
Potentially vacant positions.
The vacant position, what was the title?
labor.
Sewer labor.
Sewer labor is
Yes.
vacant right now?
No,
That's what I'm asking.
Can he answer that?
Right now, the position is open as the assistant plant manager.
Okay. And you're hiring a laborer.
The,
The laborer we have is technically wants to move up.
yes. And he has all the qualifications, been doing it for the last 16 months.
And do we need an assistant superintendent over there, is I guess my question.
Yes, yes, we need somebody to control the labor, get the orders from me, and take it over there, to get it done.
But it
You gotta have
seems
two
like,
guys.
What?
You have to have two guys.
yeah, but it seems kind of redundant to go from you to somebody else down to one person.
There's not one person, there's two people. They're working together, and one got the call of how this is gonna be done. I tell them to go do something, something else comes up, that guy's gonna turn around and say, I want you to do this, why I do that. One's gotta be, they can't have two of them together because they're gonna butt heads. One's gotta be above the other one,
And that makes sense.
you know?
Makes sense.
And he makes
One
the
has to be the
call.
leader.
Huh?
One has to be the leader,
Right,
team leader.
right.
And that,
Isn't it your job to,
Yes, it is, but if I'm not always there, you know, as they're doing a job, they don't have to be on the phone all the time calling me up. Well, I want doing something
There can't
else.
be a rule the senior guy
Tom,
has
the
the,
difference is 50 cents.
yeah.
Really, we can argue about.
But it, you know, and I know it's more difficult in government when you have unions and stuff, but, you know, private industry, you wouldn't have this.
In the union, when you have two guys
Yeah.
working together and they're both a laborer, I did it long enough. They want to boss each other around because each one of them has the bigger brain.
It's like two
but
private.
how it works.
that would be his job to make sure
Well,
that
no,
doesn't
but I
happen?
mean, he can't
He
be
can't
there
be
as the
there all the
babysitter.
time.
The problem is if the guy goes out to work on the line, he can't go down in the manhole by himself. He needs another guy there.
Right.
So you always have to have two
Yeah.
guys.
What did you
You know,
do,
it's a safety issue for one.
You can't have a one-man department anyways.
no, I understand that, but when you're the water side, you had 5 guys at one time, right? I mean, what was the max?
Yeah, it's me, then I have assistant plant operator that takes over when I'm not around. I'm on vacation and stuff
Yep.
like
On the water
that.
side, yeah.
Yeah, they make the calls.
And if you were, let's say you went on vacation, and the assistant plant operator was handling the staff,
Yep.
and 2 guys went to West Dudley and the other 2 guys were in East Dudley, you only had 1 supervisor, you had to be with 1, you couldn't be with all 4, what happened in that scenario? With the 2 guys who were, in essence, the 2 guys who could butt heads because they were equal to each other. Did they work together? Did they say, I'm not doing this?
You're only talking about a week. You're only talking about a week or a day they're working together. You're not talking all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, but my question is, did they go well? Were there issues? And
well, sometimes there was. But sometimes one guy wanted to do a water line and only do a patch job, and the other guy wanted to do the whole service. Who was doing it right.
Yeah.
And they were butting heads.
Or he wants to put a spool piece of pipe in when you need a whole
Do you
pipe.
know,
Yeah.
John,
You know?
the job that's vacant, was there any requirements? Like licenses?
No, there's no license required for the sewer department at all. I think it goes to
I
Webster.
know you
All we
really
do is
don't need
collection.
them, but in the requirements, when we put the job scope out there, was anything asked? Like, what did you need? Did you need college? Did you need, a 6th grade education?
Well, I will get the job.
That's personnel board.
That's what I'm
Job
saying.
qualifications, like mechanically inclined, work with tools, what weight they lift, I would assume. That's
I
all personnel.
will dig up and try to find a job description.
Job
I
description.
just thought
It's in the union contract.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all
I just think we can
collective
get away
bargaining. We got
Well, no,
nothing to say about it.
if we get away with building a bureaucracy, I guess, make it, less complicated.
Handle
I'll
it.
take mine off
Yeah.
to read.
Like I said, this is a start. We're gonna, this is a start right here with that letter, and we'll find out, because we can't do anything until we get
Yeah,
the okay or find out what's going on.
When I saw that pump chamber down there with things that look like spark plugs, what were we doing with spark plugs on a sewer pump? It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
I've seen a lot of pretty old sewer stuff, but I never saw one.
You know, it's, like I say, pretty.
It's amazing it's still running.
We.
Runs pretty good.
And we're
I'm
dependent on
surprised.
one man, with all this knowledge, it has to be passed down to somebody else, so.
Well,
we can keep,
what we should do is,
because we do have attrition, people
Well, we-
retire.
we should take pictures of of it, and then when something goes wrong, if, you know, or something like how document what we did when something went wrong, and keep like a little to hand
They
out.
wouldn't know what they were looking at,
Yeah,
you know?
what if you say, hey, this was happening and we did this. Just like John could put down, I was sending 500 gallons, only 200 gallons were hitting in the other tank, and there was an issue with, you know, just describe the issue, and this was circling around, like a what if this is happening to you, this might be the problem type of thing, you know?
Oh, yeah, but do you don't think that book would be?
Yeah, it's okay,
That's where
Oh,
you,
that's.
your daily knowledge.
Yep,
yeah.
but the whole thing is like DEP had to put all they made us, because there were so many guys retiring from water departments, even with all the knowledge in their head, we had to make books on how to do every step
Yeah.
of, if there was, E.
Continuity.
coli, what your steps, what
Continuity
your
bias,
steps
it's-
stations, what are the chemical pumps have to be set at to get this dosage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have all those books.
Years.
Yep.
We do it in the military, it's continuity.
Yeah, it's ISO in business.
Anything else, gentlemen? Motion to adjourn?
Make a
So
motion
moved.
to adjourn.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.